Ah, oh, that's hot. That's hot.
So Donald Trump dies and he goes to hell. And when he gets there, he meets the devil. And the devil says, listen, you're definitely meant to be here, but we don't have any room for you. So in order for us to accept you in, we're going to have to let somebody go. He said, but I'm going to make it fair and I'm going to let you choose who gets to leave. So come with me. So he takes Trump to 3 different doors. And he says, behind one of these doors is somebody you can set free and take their place. He said, but like I said, I'm going to let you make the decision. So Donald Trump opens the first door and he sees Barack Obama. And he's jumping off a diving board, landing in a pool, getting out of the pool, getting on the diving board and jumping back in. And he's doing it over and over repeatedly. And Trump goes, I don't think I can, I don't think I can do this for eternity. So no, I don't think I can do this. So the devil says, all right, we'll check door number 2. So he opens up door number 2 and George Bush is in there and he's got a hammer and he's breaking rocks and he just keeps breaking rocks just consistently. Like he breaks one rock, another rock appears. And Trump goes, I got a bad shoulder, old golf injury, can't be doing that either. So let's go back and check door number 3. So the devil takes him to door number 3 and he opens the door and Bill Clinton's strapped to a bed. And Monica Lewinsky comes in and does what Monica Lewinsky was famous for doing over and over and over again. And Trump goes, I think I can handle this. I can get used to this. So yeah, I'll take door number 3. The devil says, all right, Monica, you're free to go.
A young guy from Texas moves to California and goes to a big department store looking for a job. The manager says, "Do you have any sales experience?" The kid says, "Yeah, I was a salesman back home in Texas." Well, the boss liked the kid, so he gave him the job. "You start tomorrow. I'll come down after we close and see how you did." His first day on the job was rough, but he got through it. After the store was locked up, the boss came down. "How many sales did you make today?" The kid says, "1." The boss says, "Just 1? Our salespeople average 20 or 30 sales a day. How much was the sale for?" Kid says, $101,237. Boss says, $101,237. What did you sell him? Kid says, "First I sold him a small fish hook. Then I sold him a medium fish hook. Then I sold him a larger fish hook. Then I sold him a new fishing rod. Then I asked him where he was going fishing and he said down at the coast, so I told him he was gonna need a boat. So we went down to the boat department and I sold him that twin-engine Chris Craft. Then he said he didn't think his Honda Civic would pull it, so I took him down to the automotive department and sold him that 4x4 Blazer." The boss said, "A guy came in here to buy a fish hook and you sold him a boat and truck?" Kid says, "No, he came in here to buy a box of tampons for his wife, and I said, well, since your weekend's shot, you might as well go fishing." A man boarded an airplane and took his seat. As he settled in, he glanced up and saw the most beautiful woman boarding the plane. He soon realized she was heading straight towards his seat. As fate would have it, she took the seat right beside his. Eager to strike up a conversation, he blurted out, "Business trip or pleasure?" She turned, smiled, and said, "Business. I'm going to the annual Nymphomaniacs of America convention in Boston." He swallowed hard. Here was the most gorgeous woman he had ever seen sitting next to him, and she was going to a meeting of nymphomaniacs. Struggling to maintain his composure, he calmly asked, "What's your business at this convention?" "Lecturer," she responded. "I use information that I have learned from my personal experiences to debunk some of the popular myths about sexuality." "Really?" he said. "And what kind of myths are there?" "Well," she explained, "one popular myth is that African American men are the most well-endowed of all men, when in fact it is the Native American Indian who is most likely to possess that trait. Another popular myth is that Frenchmen are the best lovers, when actually it is men of Mexican descent who are the best. I have also discovered that the lover with absolutely the best stamina is the Southern redneck." Suddenly the woman became a little uncomfortable and blushed. "I'm sorry," she said. "I shouldn't really be discussing all of this with you. I don't even know your name." "Tonto," the man said. "Tonto Gonzalez, but my friends call me Bubba." Little Johnny walked into class with a black eye. The teacher was concerned and asked, "What's wrong?" Johnny said, "Our house is very small. Last night, me, my mom, and my dad, we all slept on the same bed. My dad asked me, 'Johnny, are you sleeping?' When I said no, he slapped my face and I got a black eye." The teacher advised, Next time, when your dad asks if you're sleeping, stay dead quiet and don't answer. The following morning, Johnny returned with 2 black eyes. The teacher, now very worried, asked, "Oh my, why do you now have 2 black eyes?" Johnny replied, "I thought I told you." Dad asked me again, "Johnny, are you sleeping?" I kept dead still and didn't say anything. Then my dad and Mom started moving at the same time. You know, Mom was breathing hard, kicking her legs up in the air and squealing like a hyena on the bed. Then my dad asked my mom, "Are you coming?" Mom said, "Yes, I'm coming. Are you coming too?" Dad answered, "Yes. They don't usually go anywhere without me," so I said, "Wait for me, I'm coming too." A woman comes home and tells her husband, "Remember those headaches I've been having all these years? Well, they're gone." "No more headaches?" the husband asks. "What happened?" His wife replies, "Margie referred me to a hypnotist. He told me to stand in front of a mirror, stare at myself, and repeat 3 times, 'I do not have a headache. I do not have a headache. I do not have a headache.' It worked. The headaches are all gone." "Well, that is wonderful," replies the husband. His wife then says, "You know, you haven't been exactly a ball of fire in the bedroom these last few years. Why don't you go see the hypnotist and see if he can do anything for that?" The husband agrees to try it. Following his appointment, the husband comes home, rips off his clothes, picks up his wife, and carries her into the bedroom. He puts her on the bed and says, "Don't move, I'll be right back." He goes into the bathroom and comes back a few minutes later and jumps into bed and makes passionate love to his wife like never before. His wife says, "Boy, that was wonderful." The husband says, "Don't move. I will be right back." He goes back into the bathroom, comes back, and round 2 was even better than the first time. The wife sits up and her head is spinning. Her husband again says, "Don't move. I'll be right back." With that, he goes back in the bathroom. This time, his wife quietly follows him, and there in the bathroom, she sees him standing at the mirror and saying, "She's not my wife. She's not my wife. She's not my wife." His funeral service will be held on Saturday. Bob came home drunk one night, slid into bed beside his sleeping wife, and fell into a deep slumber. He awoke before the pearly gates where St. Peter said, "You died in your sleep, Bob." Bob was stunned. "I'm dead? No, I can't be. I've got too much to live for. Send me back, please." St. Peter said, "I'm sorry, but there's only one way you can go back, and that is as a chicken." Bob was devastated, but begged St. Peter to send him to a farm near his home. The next thing he knew, he was covered with feathers, clucking and pecking the ground. A rooster strolled past. "So, you're the new hen, huh? How's your first day here?" "Not bad," replied Bob the hen, "but I have this strange feeling inside, like I'm gonna explode." "You're ovulating," explained the rooster. "Don't tell me you've never laid an egg before." "Never," said Bob. "Well, just relax and let it happen," says the rooster. "It's no big deal." Bob did, and a few uncomfortable seconds later, out popped an egg. Bob was overcome with emotion as he experienced motherhood. He soon laid another egg. His joy was overwhelming. As he was about to lay his 3rd egg, he felt a smack on the back of his head and heard his wife yelling, "Bob, wake up for fuck's sake! You've just shit the bed!" A blonde calls her boyfriend and says, "Please come over here and help me. I have a killer jigsaw puzzle and I can't figure out how to get started." Her boyfriend asks, "What is it supposed to be when it's finished?" The blonde says, "According to the picture on the box, it's a rooster." Her boyfriend decides to go over and help with the puzzle. She lets him in and shows him where she has the puzzle spread all over the table. He studies the pieces for a moment, then looks at the box, then turns to her and says, "First of all, no matter what we do, we're not going to be able to assemble these pieces into anything resembling a rooster." He then takes her hand and says, "Secondly, I want you to relax. Let's have a nice cup of tea and then," he said with a deep sigh, "let's put all these cornflakes back in the box."
Emotional, damn it!
3 scientists were sitting around the lab getting drunk one day when one turned to the others and asked, "What would happen if we put a giant cork up an elephant's butt?" Well, none of them knew for certain, so they decided to run the experiment for science. They gathered an elephant and a giant cork together in a cage. A month later, and the elephant seemed to be tolerating the experiment well. 2 months later, the elephant seemed to look a little peckish, but still fine. 6 months later, the elephant was a bloated, greenish balloon, wedged into its cage, its swollen body bulging between the bars, so the scientists decided to terminate the experiment. But how? The first scientist said, "I'm not pulling that cork out." The second scientist said, "I'm not pulling the cork out either." The third scientist said, "Let's train a monkey to do it." So they got a monkey and trained him to the task. Finally, a month later, the monkey is ready to perform the task, and none too soon. Each scientist set up his own apparatus to monitor the end of the experiment, and on the last day of the month, the first scientist was ready to document the event from the one building away from the elephant's paddock. The second scientist set up his laboratory a block away, with videos monitoring the entire event. The third scientist set up his observation post a mile away, with special infrared and X-ray imaging. They all agreed to release the monkey who, trained as he is, immediately enters the elephant's cage and pulls out the plug. They meet later that day, waiting in line at the pearly gates, and get to talking about how they died. The first scientist, who was one building away from the elephant, said, "It was awful. I drowned in an ocean of crap." The second scientist, who was in his laboratory a block away, said, "I was overcome by the horrendous stench and died." They both turn to the third scientist and say, "You were a mile away. What happened?" The third scientist said, "All I saw was that poor little monkey trying to put the cork back in, and I died laughing."
I heard a rumor through the grapevine so bold. Lawrence Lim got a million stories untold. From green jokes, conspiracies, and edits with flair. You gotta follow him, baby, if you dare. Your feet feels empty without his magic touch. You got the blues and the laughs that you crave so much. With a click and a follow, you'll find some relief. Lawrence Lim's social media, a digital belief. Click, subscribe, don't miss a trick. Now, hey, leave your worries and come on, click today. Lawrence Lim's got the content right in line. Follow him now.